Well, Adventure Time happened. Happened. Will happen. Happened. And will happen again and again. 'Cause you and I will always be back then. Anyway, if you're not in the know, Adventure Time is a really cool Cartoon Network show created by Pendleton Ward, and it first aired in 2010. It's been running for 10 seasons, which is quite a long time by any television show standards. And recently it came to a close on September 3rd, 2018. The final episode of Adventure Time aired, and it was like this huge deal. I didn't watch it as soon as it came out because I was a bit busy, but I watched it shortly after, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it, and I just kind of tweeted about it, saying that I was gonna make a video talking about it. So yeah, I just want to kind of give my impressions. I recently rewatched it just to refresh my memory a bit, and I think I enjoyed it more the first time, mainly just because the second time I knew what was going to happen. But either way, it was just a really cool episode. It was like 40 minutes. It was a huge, like, almost short film-esque. Like, it's really long, and it had a lot of events happening in it. But yeah, I really liked it. Also, just before I start talking about it, it's worth mentioning that it's obviously going to be spoilers if you haven't watched the finale already, so that's good to keep in mind. Maybe go watch it before you watch this, but this is just going to be like my thoughts about it. And yeah, basically, I really liked it. There were lots of twists, there were lots of different like progressions in the story. I feel like it came to a close really nicely. It started off with like this kind of cool future segment after like the world of had changed a lot. It's showing it from the future. Presumably a lot of the people in that we've come to know may have passed away, and we get to see, I think we were following like from the perspective of Beth and Shermie. But they were nice. They were kind of cool. There was just like this little rabbit, Shermie, and a cool dog as well called Beth, the pup princess. So yeah, it just started off with them, and they were just kind of messing around. They found Finn's metal arm, and they went to talk with BMO about what happened ages ago, millions of years ago, when Finn and Jake were all alive. And BMO just told the whole story, which was cool. It had this kind of like future back to the past thing. Even if Shermie and Beth didn't really play a huge part in the story, they didn't ask loads of questions throughout, it was still kind of a nice way to start the episode. And it also ended with them too, which is a nice little kind of prologue closure kind of thing. And the whole of season 10 kind of hyped up to this huge war between Princess Bubblegum and Princess Bubblegum's uncle. I forgot his name. But they were like this huge army, but like about to have this huge war. Finn and Jake averted the crisis, stopped the war by putting them all to sleep, putting all the main characters to sleep. And yeah, it was kind of cool because they did this really interesting dream segment where basically it was just a dream potion that Finn and Jake used to get everyone to go to sleep and try to resolve the argument in their dreams, which I thought was really the way they executed it, by using loads of different crazy like dream stuff. I found that kind of cool. Oh yeah, there was one bit in the dream where Princess Bubblegum and her uncle had like swapped places in the past, where the uncle was in charge of the whole Candy Kingdom, and Princess Bubblegum had been turned into a sweet, which I thought that was quite clever, because they did quite a lot with it. Like in dreams, you can kind of do anything you want, and it can be as crazy and as weird as it needs to be. So I thought they did that quite well. It wasn't too crazy, but there was a lot of weird parts. There was a lot of scary parts. There was a lot of cool parts. That dream part was really cool. Basically, one of the things that I really like about Adventure Time is the fact that it has a nice balance of kind of just silly kind of comedy jokes, wacky stuff, and the actual story, which is also kind of cool. And
My web search turns something up for comedy jokes on wacky stuff. Have a look.
why, Siri? I'm trying to record. Why did you do this to me? So yeah, one of the things I really like about Adventure Time is the fact that it is struck quite a nice balance, especially in the finale, with being this just wacky, kind of crazy, off the wall children's show with loads of jokes and comedy, and also having like a story with a lot of depth, or a decent amount of depth, with all these characters and conflict and all this stuff. So I think it started off just being kind of wacky kind of show, and now it's progressed to have like an actual huge story, and this was the end of it. So yeah, I don't know, I've always liked that. I feel like the finale struck quite a good balance as well, where a lot of it was meant to be a story and have a lot of conflict and have a lot of drama, but it also had a lot of really well-timed jokes, especially in this dream segment, where there were a lot of just kind of visual jokes and kind of well-timed, just, they might not have even meant to be jokes, but they were just like, it was funny. It was really well made, that they made lots of kind of funny moments. I don't know, and yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I don't know. There are just so many characters in Adventure Time that have been developed throughout the whole show, and it was really cool to just see them all packed into this like one massive finale episode, and just like lots of the main characters that we've got to know a lot, but there were also lots of like side characters that aren't as prominent in a lot of the show, and they were just shown. I had like a little cameo, a little appearance, which I just thought was neat to have like so many characters that you've seen and grown to love and like know a lot about them. And it was just, yeah, that was really cool. That was one of the parts that I found really cool. But basically, yeah, the Finn and Fern made friends. Finn and Fern were friends, and Bubblegum tried to make an alliance with her uncle, but it eventually failed, and her uncle, in a sweep of fate of irony, her uncle became a candy again, a sweet person or something. But then things got really interesting, because Golb came. Golb is this huge, demonic, crazy, red monster creature that just came out from the sky because Betty wanted to bring back Simon. But Golb was causing chaos and just, I don't know, just killing loads of people. And I don't know, it was just really crazy. It ended up, because the dream made the war stop instead, Golb came and messed everything up, and there was this huge battle between everyone versus Golb and this like god of destruction, basically. It was really well made. There was like this really cool battle scene between all of Finn and Jake and friends and this huge monster, and the monster is created. So yeah, that was cool. Ice King helped get Betty out of this trance, and eventually it kind of ended by Finn and Jake and everyone else singing along to a song called Time Adventure, which I really liked. It was sung first by BMO, but basically included every voice actor of like most of the characters, and they were all like singing in harmony to this nice tune. And I only realized a while ago that Time Adventure is Adventure Time swapped over. Wow. But yeah, that was the song that I was like singing at the beginning or whatever. And I really liked it. That was a really nice song. And basically, through this song, Golb was destroyed. The whole song defeating Golb thing was maybe a bit cheesy, but they made it really well. It didn't seem too bad. It was just quite kind of nice that again, like, this huge battle could be resolved without using violence, which is a nice message. I mean, I don't know how all the characters suddenly knew the words to this song just off the top of their heads. It seemed like BMO just made it up. But either way, it was cool. It was really nice to have all these characters singing along to that tune. Yeah, I mean, the stakes of that battle were really high. There was a lot of destruction and a lot of crazy stuff going on. The whole tree house that has been there since the start got destroyed, got smashed by one of the monsters. That was like pretty crazy and pretty sad and shocking. Like when that first happened, I was like, oh my god, how did that happen? That was my exact reaction. Oh my god, how did that happen? But yeah, that was really crazy. There was a lot going on there in general. It felt like it wasn't gonna be an easy battle, kind of like there was a lot of times where it seemed like the heroes were actually going to lose, which I feel like is kind of hard a lot of the time in kind of children's movies and children's TV shows, where you always think it's going to have a happy ending. So to feel like it's actually something's bad happening and it could go wrong, that was kind of a cool thing that they did. That all of them, especially because they were all fighting Golb and Golb's kind of weird creatures, and a lot of them were just getting beaten up and just kicked to the sidewalk kind of thing. So it felt like, oh wow, all these characters, we've seen them fight before, but they're just getting completely destroyed. Maybe they won't be able to do it. Maybe they won't be able to beat Golb. But yeah, in the end, I guess they did. But that was kind of interesting. I really liked Fern's arc, because basically Fern was this grass version of Finn. And Fern was like tired of living his whole life in Finn's shadow, and was just fed up and wanted to replace Finn and didn't want to have anything to do with Finn, partly because of this weird kind of evil green eye that attached itself to Fern's body. But yeah, Fern had a really cool arc, because it's very I just find it really interesting that like Finn didn't want to have any trouble with Fern. Finn wanted to live, both of them to live together, and it would have been really cool to just have another version of himself. But Fern just felt really strange having two of them, and felt out of place, and felt like he was just a copy of Finn. And eventually in this episode, they came to like a friendship, kind of, by realizing that they're both the same and they shouldn't fight, and like they both have gone through all of the same stuff. And that was one of the weird things about Fern, that they both have, Finn and Fern have like the same memories, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, that was really cool. I liked Fern's ending. Unfortunately, Fern died at the end. And yeah, that was kind of sad. I don't know, that was sad. Fern died right in front of Finn, because Fern's made of grass. He just blew away in the wind, basically, without any real body. It's really cool to see Simon back from being Ice King. This whole time we kind of realized that Ice King is this kind of crazy old weirdo who can control ice, and that was just how it started. And then we kind of realized, oh wow, Simon's used to be a normal person. He used to be a scientist, kind of, and Betty was like distraught that Simon turned into Ice King by wearing this magical crown. But then it turned out at the end, with all of Betty's efforts, Simon came back. Simon returned as normal. But Betty had to sacrifice herself for it. So yeah, that was kind of sad as well. That Betty seemed to like fuse with Golb or something, and then could control Golb, I guess, and then I don't know, whatever. That seemed a bit like a cop out, a bit, to be honest. I don't know. It it doesn't really make sense, but it was still a cool ending, to be honest. And I don't know. One of the huge things that was like really, everyone was talking about it when the finale came out, and it kind of got spoilt for me. But basically, Princess Bubblegum and Marceline kissed. I don't know how else to put it. Basically, they're like a nice little couple now. And when I first heard that, I found it a bit strange because it just felt a bit unpredictable, I guess. I didn't know that they would have a love interest in each other or whatever, and it didn't seem like it was hinted to at all throughout the show. But they pulled it off again. They did it quite well. I felt like it was a lot more subtle than I expected, and it just felt really nice and kind of heartwarming. I guess even if I didn't realize, it does make sense because they they've known each other for a really long time. They care about each other a lot. So it was just, yeah, it was nice to see them like hug and all that. I think I think they just did it really well. That it's like they did pulled it off quite subtly, and it wasn't like made into a big deal. Even if it does seem like quite a big deal among the kind of LGBT community, especially Adventure Time fans. They thought this was like really important. They really appreciated that moment, and it didn't come at like a cost. It was just pulled off really well, and it felt really natural the way they did it. So yeah, I really like that in general. And again, even with like Beth and Simon, it was nice that they had a bit of a reunion before they were separated once again. I don't know if I explained properly, but it ended with Beth and Shermie finding the tree that Fern grew into. Kind of like after Fern died, basically he was planted and became this huge tree, which is kind of cool. So a part of Fern was still out there, and Beth and Shermie found it. Because it ended on a note where it's almost as if Adventure Time could have continued. Like, it could have continued anyway, whether it was with Finn and Jake or with Beth and Shermie. But it ended in a way where it's like, oh, there can still be adventures. There will still be adventures. We just aren't gonna do any more kind of, like, in-universe. There will be loads more stories that could have been told, but this was a nice place to end, kind of, after this huge fight and this huge resolution. I forgot to say, I'm editing this now, but I want to add that even if I could be here saying, oh, I really wish Adventure Time didn't end, I think it could have gone on for way longer, I wish there was more Adventure Time seasons, I think it ended at a good place, as well as the fact that because it ran for 10 seasons, there are a lot of episodes that they've made, and if they thought they were tiring the source material, then I'm glad they stopped at a good place instead of like beating the dead horse for too long or whatever. And I think it just makes me want to go back and watch more episodes that I don't remember as much, and just look through the whole library of all the Adventure Time episodes, because there's some really good episodes out there, and I feel like they could keep me going for quite a while. It ended with this, like, the music hole playing Come Along With Me, which was the name of the episode. It just ended with that, and it showed a little, like, nice little sequence with that playing in the background of basically all the characters being basically happy with what they had. I think the only person who wasn't maybe happy was like Simon, because Simon was trying to talk to Prismo to get Betty back, but otherwise it was just nice to see them all kind of happy and playing around, showing all the characters, and I don't really know how to explain it. It just felt really cool, this sequence of like all these characters at the end of their story doing stuff, being happy. With the Come Along With Me song, I feel like, yeah, we saw everyone get on with their lives at the end briefly, and that song is just, yeah, it was really good. I think it was made by Ashley Erickson, I want to say. Yeah, it was Ashley Erickson who made the Come Along With Me Island song, and I just really like that song because obviously I associate it with Adventure Time since it's been the credit song for as long as Adventure Time's been running. So obviously there's like that, I made that link with Adventure Time. But it's just a really nice song in general that that song, Come Along With Me. I don't know, I just feel like, yeah, again, all the characters are really fleshed out, considering that Adventure Time is just this kind of wacky little show, that I feel like all the Adventure Time characters really feel like they have their own personality. And at the start of Adventure Time, when it was just loads of wacky, unrelated, unconnected episodes, it felt like, oh, these are just characters. But now we actually know these characters, and seeing them all together, we know their backstory, we know what they're like, we care about them. That's what I really liked about it, that how they developed all these characters this much was kind of amazing, especially because lots of them just kind of were featured in one episode or a few episodes, a handful of episodes, and yet they still are so lovable and charming, and we still really care about them. Especially lots of the characters on like the enemy side, like Fern and Uncle Bubblegum or whatever. We haven't even known them that much. I think they were introduced in like season 9 or something, but they still seemed really important, and they still had their own kind of arc, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that much else to say. I don't want to ramble on too much. I just felt like I wanted to make a video for the second channel just saying, hey, I really liked Adventure Time, the finale of Adventure Time, and you should check it out if you haven't. And if you have, maybe rewatch it and tell me in the comments what you thought of it. What were your favourite parts? That's a wrap then, I guess. I hope you like this video, and I hope you join me for future videos. Of course the camera falls down. Of course it does. Of course it. That's just classic. Okay, anyway, thanks so much for watching. Bye bye. Just ruin everything, Siri. I hate you.